Hello and welcome. I received a request on how I set up my Everquest server. So I thought I'd go through like a step-by-step on how to get up and going with EQEmulator. So step one, go to eqemulator.org. You're going to want to go to the Getting Started link, which is right here. And I'm going to use a Linux server just because I have lots of Linux VMs going on. So pull that in. Here we go. So I've already set up an Ubuntu VM. It's running 18.04. I just patched it, so we're good to go there. So step one, here, let's make this a little smaller. Step one, we need to add this repository. So just copy that. And I'm using the built-in Windows SSH client as I'm doing this recording from Windows. Let's go ahead and add that. And then I'm gonna need to get the curl one, which will download the install script and start the install process. All right, the first command's done. So let's go ahead and go with the next one, which is the curl command. And that is gonna download the script, make it executable, and then execute the script as root, which most of the time you don't want to do this, but I've looked at the script and I've done it multiple times. This one's fine. All right, so step one, we're gonna get this going. It's gonna set up this. It's gonna create a user. It's gonna set everything up. It's gonna install MySQL, Perl, Lua. Download the latest PEQ database, which is the project EQ database that I use, and all the quests that they have. The latest plugins repository, all the maps, and everything else. So I always go with the default EQ password for everything, just so I can get back into it. I do not connect any of this to the internet. I am not sure how secure it is or anything like that. So I just go with EQ for everything. There we go. This part will take a little while to get everything going. It downloads quite a bit of stuff. All right, we're back. The VM I set up is really underpowered, so it took a while. It's literally the next day. Let's see here. So the server is set up at this point. The database is already initialized. Everything's downloaded. So once you get to this point, you just exit. And let's see, it's like cd home, EQEMU. And then your server is in the server directory, which is all the files to run the server in. So you're gonna need to change a few files. Let me grab my other server. So this is the server I actually play on. Let me see. It's like home EQEMU server. All right. So we want to look at what file is it? It's the config, I believe. Go. So first thing you want to do is you want to edit this file and set it up. If I could type. And by default, I mean, it's got everything you need pretty much, except for right here, you want to name your server. So go down to, what's this, line 48? And you change the name of the server. Oh, I'm not root on this one. Yeah, so you're gonna go down here, just change the long name, like EQ test, and then give it a short name. Doesn't really matter at all. Yeah. And then you're gonna want to do. So I always run my own login server, so it's like self-sufficient from everything else. So I usually go down to. It's like right. It's this line right here. This line right here. You gotta add address. And when I first set this up, this is like was the hardest part for figuring out what I had to set, because it was very hard to find this documented, and for some reason they don't even include it in this file. All right, so I think that's all that's required. Yeah, login server 1. So yeah, you got to change this. You want to be your own login server. 4.108. That'll be whatever your IP address is. That's just the DHCP address of this VM. Yeah, that should be good. And then I think there's one other file I need to edit. Which one is it? I think login.json. Yeah, and this is where all the default passwords and stuff are. So if you change the password on your database and whatnot, you can edit it in this file. And I just have the default EQ for everything since it's offline. That could be enough. So let's go ahead and see if we can start the server. Cannot type at all today. Server start with login. All right, so the server should be good to go. It's a very, very slow VM, so I don't know how long that's gonna take. Let's go ahead and move this one over here. I can bring this. Okay, so the server is running in the background, and you can stop the server with the server stop command, or you can get some status on it with the server status command. And yeah, the scripts are all set up. So the server is good to go now. Now you need to get the client. And the only way I know to get the client is through this post right here. I'll have all the links for everything in the description of the video. But like right here, it goes through, and this is on the official site. And it pretty much tells you that you can't legally obtain any of these anymore. I have all the CDs and stuff from back when I played, but you can get it from here. You download this zip file. It's got a torrent that will let you download the client files for this. So I've already done that because it takes a while. It's a pretty good size. Let me find the folder. I already had it open. So open a new window. There we go. So I have everything on a separate drive for performance, just so I can run enough different boxes and stuff. So you're going to go through that. You're going to download the client, and then you have to go into the EQ host file. So I set up a special directory for this. You're looking at a 10 gig download, so it's not too bad, but it's going to take a while. You're going to find EQ host, this file right here. Oh, open my other screen right here. Just go ahead and close that. And then this is where you'll change it. So you just put the IP address in. By default, it'll be this login.eqemulator.net. So you just set it to your own login server, because I just don't like going through that. Like, you have to create an account on the EQ emulator and the project EQ stuff to get. I had a lot of issues when I first set this up on my version 1 of this, so I do it that way. So you just save it and you're good to go there. All right, so now we're gonna do this one in. So where is it? Let's duplicate this batch file. So inside of this, like this is this guy Cream. I've known him since I was like 10. We've been playing Everquest and Ultima Online and stuff forever. But inside of his download, this file, this directory is the macro request and everything for macro request in here. But he's got all these scripts, batch files for Windows that you can use, and I've just been editing them over time to simplify things for me. But this is this one opened a different editor, but this is pretty much the script to start everything. Let me take this one out. I'll leave it on for now. So there's a bug with macro requests where it doesn't read the settings file if you don't open it from this folder. So you have to like go in there and open it yourself. But this will go ahead and start up a character, and we can create a new character. Let's change the directory. So we go to the other server, and yeah, probably not as organized as I'd like for this, but the gist of it's the same. We're gonna save this as start GM. I'll call this test because that's the new one. So, all right, so it's gonna start up macro request from that folder. Start up the it's like the command server for macro requests. It lets all the bots communicate with each other and issue commands to everything. And there's all kinds of macros you could look up and find for setting up. Like, actually, I'll just go ahead and load him up and see if it works. I have not pre-tested this, so let's hope it works. If not, I'll stop it and fix it. All right, so here's our test script. Oh, it got saved as a TXT file. It's annoying. 1 second. All right. I had to turn on the file extensions. For some reason that wasn't on, so we'll go ahead and start that up. So it's going to start up 2 windows. One is the batch file executing all the clients. Oh, the path is wrong. Okay, we can fix that real quick. So this is just the server. Let's move that there. Let's go back to editing this file. And it was EQ test, not V6 test. That's my fault. Go ahead and save that. Minimize. Kick this one off again. Go ahead and close that new window it created. And macro request is now running down here. That loads all of the auto login stuff, and it is really what lets the macroing of everything work. All right, so the client is, there it is. So here's our server that we just created. So by default, you have to like go in and edit the database to give yourself GM privileges. By default, you start as a normal player. So we have no characters on the server, so let's go ahead and create one. I like halflings because they're the best. And I always make him Lothar. Let's go with a warrior just for fun, and let's go and enter the world. Takes a little bit. Hopefully nothing crashes. The server is very underpowered for this test I'm using. But if that fails, I can always open up the real server. I have the real server running on real hardware versus a VM on a very underpowered old desktop. Yeah, it's taken a little bit. While that's loading, let's go ahead and go here, and I'll start my GM character on my current server. And they should be able to use the same. Yeah, I don't think that matters. Let's just move that over there. Yeah, he's taking forever to load. As long as you give it, I think I gave the other server 16 gigs of RAM with two processors with 2 cores each, I believe. I think that's what the settings are. This will load. There we go. Yeah, you can see I'm in Plane of Hate. From the current video I'm working on for Plane of Hate. I always keep my GM character around for things go bad. So yeah. And you can, as the GM character, you can run around, you can look at the loot on stuff. So you can see it just has a little gold. Let's see, here's the, yeah, and the GM character, when they have like a status of 300, I think it is, or 200, they can see all the things on the map through the thing. So you can see all the loot on the actual boss of the zone and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And you can tell that this Interrupt is Plane of Powers level, I believe. That's 125 hit points. So yeah. So it's I don't have the database for the older one, but yeah. So it's pretty set up now. Yeah, what happened here? Oh, looks like that one just didn't load. And yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else I wanted to cover. Let's see, here's my notes. The client, yeah, I'll link all these links, the setting of the server, but that's how you get started. And then for each in here, like I have this bat file that's got, I think this one start. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one. So I think I'm on 3 groups right now. I've been leveling, maybe actually more. I feel like I've done more. Asbots, maybe. No, not that one. So many different batch files. They're all on my desktop, but maybe it's this one. Nope. This one. Start all. There we go. So this is like my current group setup for everything. So I currently have the 6 groups going, and I just leveled them all to level 50, and I got them all into Plane of Hate, and that's where I've been farming. I've been trying to make a video for that. But yeah, that covers, I think, everything to get started with EQEMU, EQ emulator. It's like the best software I've used. So you're just gonna, yeah. So just getting the client will probably be the more time-consuming portion, but this torrent should work just fine. And then you're gonna want to set up MaccRequest, which is pretty much just downloading MaccRequest and then setting it up. I think I can show that. So when you go into MaccRequest, there's this auto login. Where is it? Login. Jeez, it's hard to see. There it is, auto login.ini. So this is just how you set up all your accounts. So you don't have to manually log in every single one. So you got your account name, the password for the account, the character name, and the server name. The server name corresponds to this name, which, pull up the other file. So it corresponds to this name right here, the long name. That's why it's I had a typo in my old one. I was wondering why the version 5 stuff still worked. I never changed it. Which is okay, because when it creates all the INI files for all the different characters, it's got that short name plus the character name. So whereas like here's like all my macros for different characters. Like this is a bard. Just creates that, and then this INI file is loaded whenever the characters are loaded. And I think MacroQuest has a 64 character limit of active characters you can use per MacroQuest instance. And I've only gotten one instance to work on one computer, but if you have like weird crashes because you have more than 64 characters, that's why. And I've maxed out at about 54 characters on one machine, so that is something to know. But you shouldn't need more than that to do anything. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's everything. I'll have all the links in the description. If there's any questions or anything like that, I will answer them the best I can, or I'll try and figure out the answer for you. And I'm also going to make a video on how to do the same thing for Project 99, just because that one's probably more applicable to most people. Because I don't think most people want to go through the tedium that is like just doing all 36 of these characters. Like the first one's, fast, right? And then you get a little faster for group 2, but you're having to farm gear for like all over. So I'm in Plane of Hate doing 36 characters, and every time an item drops, I need to switch to that character and manually loot it. And it's kind of tedious, but it is what it is. I find it fun. But thanks for watching. If there's anything, just let me know.